Wow, it's wonderful to see you all tonight. Wonderful to have a couple of wonderful friends with us tonight. Mike, thank you so much. I am humbled and inspired to see so many new and familiar faces with us here. In particular, I wanted to pause and say thank you. We have all 4 other Waterloo Region-based Green Party candidates here with us tonight as well. And so we have Kirsten Wright from Waterloo. Stephanie Gertz from Kitchener-Conestoga. David Weber is the other way, Kitchener-South Hespeler. And Michelle Braniff will be joining us shortly from Cambridge, too. Now, when I sought the nomination to be your Green Party candidate for Kitchener Centre, I did so because I knew that Waterloo Region was ready to step up, ready to dream bigger, and I think you're all proof of that here right now. Been more than a decade since some friends and I started Sustainable Waterloo Region, and with Mary Jane and her team at REAP, Climate Action WR, and the results of what we've done as a community together have poured in. First, we've now committed as a community to an 80% greenhouse gas reduction goal by 2050. That's worth a round of applause. While we have businesses now from all sectors, whether you're high-tech, manufacturing, nonprofit, that have collectively committed to reducing the equivalent of 12,000 cars off the road every year. And it didn't stop in Waterloo Region. Just last week, London became the 8th community to take inspiration from our lead and launch their own Green Economy Hub with the support of Green Economy Canada, the national association we started together in 2014 and that I led until late last year to share our Waterloo Region-born social innovation. This is just barn raising in action. This is what happens when ordinary people come together to do extraordinary things. While we also need to be honest with ourselves. We need to continue listening to what scientists and economists, young people and Indigenous leaders across the country are urgently telling us that we are living in a pivotal moment and that the status quo is insufficient. This is a time when almost half of Canadians are living within $200 of financial insolvency, and a time where here in Kitchener, home ownership is increasingly out of reach for most. It's a time when we are living in a climate emergency of our own making. This year, the wildfires have started in British Columbia before the waters of the Ottawa River have even subsided from its most recent 100-year flood. This is a crisis whose costs are projected to rise anywhere from 21 to 91 billion by 2050, and that demands we cut our carbon in half within the next 12 years if we are to sustain human life on this planet. And we know that we can be better than this. We can rise to meet the scale of the challenges we face. We can dream bigger. And we can choose to think longer term, to prioritize the next generation ahead of the next political cycle. And that as a community, we could bring to Ottawa ideas that reflect the time we are living in. For example, an economic mobilization at the scale of a Green New Deal for Canada. A shift to 100% renewables, high-speed rail, universal access to affordable and energy-efficient housing, and a federal jobs guarantee in place of billions in federal fossil fuel subsidies and lost corporate tax revenue. We can do this. We can choose to kickstart the economy we need for the future with the money we're currently using to subsidize that of the past. That's it. Recently, a new friend, Lucy, I think she said it really well. She said that we could leave our kids a generational gift instead of a generational debt. This means a lot of what Mike was talking about. This means moving past the divisive politics of left versus right, and instead focusing on securing a bright future for generations to come. Now, the real crux is that this campaign is not about making grandiose statements or influencing the conversation in this election. I said it when I spoke with Mike months ago, and our campaign's been making it very clear now as well. This is about building a winnable campaign across Kitchener Centre together. All right. And we've seen the momentum building, as Mike referred to, right across the country. Greens are doing politics differently. They're breaking down barriers and they're winning seats. We saw it with Mike last year in Guelph. We saw it with 8 MLAs in PEI last month. And we saw it with Paul Manley getting elected in Nanaimo, Ladysmith just last week. And locally, in just the past 2 months, it's now over 200 people who've reached out to be part of the campaign. This is a team that's getting organized. Canvassing has already begun. And what I thought we can do is, would you mind putting your hand up if you're either on the campaign team, whether you've started canvassing with us or hosting one of our kitchen table conversations? Could you raise your hand if you're already part of the team? These are the people who are already part of it. Thank you to all of you for being part of the journey with us. While yes, endorsements from people like Alan and James Howe, who have in past supported other parties, have stepped up. And they've said, this is something that we can do together, that this is bigger than party politics. And now it's altogether over 220 people who have also stepped up financially. This is contributing to give you a sense of how much. This is over $48,000 raised already, almost half of what is required for a fully funded, winnable campaign. And so my sense, actually Tamara said it to me recently, that in this election, we can create our own political reality. And we can choose to mobilize around what we're for rather than the fear of what we're against. Because this is our moment. And of course, some people have shared with me, and I'm sure they've shared with some of you, that they aren't sure this is possible. for Kitchener Centre to be among the first to elect a Green MP in Ontario. And so my offer to our community this election is that we can choose hope over fear. And that the onus is on us together to demonstrate over the next 157 days to all of our neighbors that we will build a campaign that is worthy of their support. And so that means that you all have a choice. And this is it. You can choose to wait on the sidelines. You can wait until August, September, October, and you can decide for yourself then whether we've built enough momentum to earn your support. Or you can choose to be a part of this now. And in doing so, you become part of this ripple effect, contributing to the momentum that together we're building to make this all that much more possible. And so I'll share with you just one example from this past week. Kathy Scott is a longtime member of the Green Party. You can give Kathy a round of applause if you'd like. She's somewhere in the room. So I met Kathy at my nomination meeting back in early March, and I asked her then if she'd host one of these kitchen table conversations. It'd be a chance that she could invite her friends over, I could hear their priorities, I could share with them about our campaign, and get a sense of where they could actually be a part of it. And Kathy said sure. And so she hosted it last Thursday night, and while some have been as many as 24 or so people, this admittedly was a smaller one. Her husband John was there, as were her friends Leo and Carol. And we had a wonderful conversation. I got to hear their concerns from electoral reform to climate inaction. And by the end of the night, all four had committed to canvass with our team, donate to the campaign, and they quickly got to work. Just 2 days later, last Saturday afternoon, both John and Leo joined us for our first canvass in this area. And so they set out as a pair, and the ripple continued to grow. And so when we canvass, what we do is we give everyone my cell phone number. I'm on my bike, and canvassers call or text me if there's someone they meet that would like to chat with me. And so, sure enough, within about a half hour, I get a voicemail from John. And he says, I just spoke with a couple that would love to meet. Please come by as soon as I'm able. And so I bike on over. I knock on the door, and Greg Papazian opens the door. And Greg introduces me to his wife, Layla, and their kids, Ethan, Azarius, and Nathaniel, and they invite me in. And we realize we've got a whole bunch of friends in common. Ethan shared about his Green Club at school, and within 10 minutes, Greg and Layla asked about hosting another kitchen conversation. They signed up for the largest lawn sign we have. They asked how they too could contribute to the campaign, and of course they shared about our visit on Facebook. This is how we will continue to ripple out and engage people across the riding. And all of this is happening more than 5 months before an election. Interaction after interaction rippling out as we together create our own political reality. And all of it, for me, comes down to this. It's active hope. It's about us together actively hoping, choosing hope over fear. Because yes, this is our moment. And the time for all of this is right now. Thank you, thank you. And so now I have the great privilege of introducing a friend of mine, a friend that has been on the road all week, a friend that has been busy campaigning in Nanaimo, a friend that was on the just nonstop, a friend that chose to say, you know what? I've been seeing all this momentum in Kitchener and across Waterloo region, and just this afternoon, hop on the train and make sure he made the 7-hour trip to be a part of this moment with us. And so it's my honor to introduce to you a woman that needs no introduction, Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party of Canada.